Just at the time that I thought our little show here on Florida State football might even outlast the program itself, we've got some good news concerning Florida State football, and we've got a game that's going to be played this weekend, we believe. And it's Florida State Seminoles Live here, number 83, our 83rd edition. One of us here is a perfect 83 for 83. If you don't count some of the side shows, he wasn't able to attend to some of those. So it's a tainted record, but we still mention it from time to time. That would be Jason Parker from NBC6, along with, of course, Big Game James Coleman back there hiding behind his avatar. Back there, Big Game.
Walking my dog, sorry.
Seriously, let the man walk his dog.
Of course, he of scoring, I believe the total was 10 touchdowns for Florida State between 2002 and 2005. And then we've got, of course, Logan Robinson from Knoll Game Day. Knoll Game Day. Check him out over on Knoll Game Day. How's the contingent tonight? How we doing?
I think my record's almost as tainted as the Big Ten rules on allowing teams in the championship game, changing at the last minute just to help out your
promised. You promised.
Well, you didn't. You took a shot. But before we go on any further, I do actually have to go old school. We're going to go old school, middle school style here with two quick shout-outs off the top. Two quick. First of all, shout out to my fellow Hebrews. Thursday night is the first night of Hanukkah, so make sure you get your menorahs ready for light tomorrow. Guys, you still have days to send me gifts. Just letting you know. It goes till next Friday, so I'll still wait to get stuff at the door. And my second shout-out, I want to give a shout-out to some former Seminoles. They may be watching the show. They may not. Ronald Darby, Dustin Hopkins. They play for Washington's football team. Shout out to them. Mazel tov for taking out the formerly undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers on Monday. I'm actually happy that Logan is still with us. Logan is still alive. He didn't drink himself into a stupor. Logan, Thank you for still being around with us.
I'm still here. That was a loss that needed to happen. I'm glad it happened. And because of two Knowles, played pretty decent that game. Shout out to Dustin Hopkins. That's not an easy stadium to kick in. Definitely in the end zone that they were going to end off the game. He hit his shots, and the Steelers absolutely 100% deserved that loss. So I think there's a bright side ahead for the Steelers. I think that was just definitely must have needed. I would have rather have lost before going undefeated into the playoffs.
You lost to a team without a nickname. After sweeping your biggest rival, you lost to a team without a nickname. How does that
11-1. 11-1.
Jason, you missed an opportunity to give a shout out to the 1972 Miami Dolphins.
No, because I will say this. I will say this. It gets, and I even said this when I was a fan of the Dolphins. It gets annoying watching Larry Zonka, Mercury Morris, the late Don Shula, God rest his soul, constantly every year popping champagne, because I think that any of these teams, the 85 Bears, the 2007 Patriots, I think this Steelers team, any of them would kick the holy hell out of that Dolphins team. That Dolphins team was a great team. They were 17-0. It was a much different era. I would love another team to go undefeated, to join the group. That record is just – it's getting old. It's getting old.
Well, yeah, that's part of the prestige of it, is that when records get older.
It's a BS record. I'm sorry. I'm done with it.
How's it a BS record? They went through the season. They went undefeated and won the Super Bowl.
Do you think the 85 Bears would have beaten that Dolphins team?
No, I'm not debating eras. I'm just saying it's not a BS record. It's like saying Joe DiMaggio's hitting streaks BS.
They went undefeated. They did their job. They beat every team. They should be congratulated for doing that. I'm saying that it constantly gets tiring, because I think they realize that their era is done. It's a different era. It's a different time. They just need to go away. I'm sorry. I'm done with it.
Anyway, let's talk Florida State football. And we've got reason to be excited today, do we, Jason?
We have a reason to be excited because of the fact that for the first time in a while, it didn't happen much during the Willie Taggart era. It didn't happen much towards the end of the Jimbo Fisher era. Hasn't happened so far much during the Mike Norvell era. The Florida State Seminoles got a verbal commitment from a player from South Florida, a good player. Guys, we remembered that we need to recruit South Florida. It's awesome. It's amazing. Florida State got a linebacker commit, Patrick Payton, a 4-star linebacker from Miami Northwestern. Big kid, 6'5". He only weighs 205, so that's going to be step one of putting some meat on the bones. But he's a 4-star athlete. Saw him play a couple times down here. He's got the athleticism that Florida State needs. I wonder if, with his size, with him being 6'5", if he'll move, kind of play that little, kind of in that Tampa 2 style defense where he plays a little safety, plays a little linebacker, whether they're going to do that, or if they're going to beef him up and play linebacker. But he's a good linebacker commit. I like the fact that I will give him credit. Coach Mike Norvell, the coaching staff, good job coming down here, getting a recruit, getting him to flip from Tennessee. He's going from one sinking ship in Tennessee to another sinking ship in Tallahassee. But no matter what, they got the South Florida recruit. Now they need to come down here, get some more of these guys. There's going to be guys that are committed to other schools, from Miami Palmetto, from St. Thomas, American Heritage schools that are in the state championship. Get them. Get these guys. Come on down here. You've got time. Get these guys. They want to come to the 850. Bring them up.
Over from Miami. Yeah, no, I think he's a solid guy. He's obviously very athletic. And I think if you're looking at early parts of a comparison, I think you'd look at maybe Hams and Nasruddin. Obviously, Hams is a different animal. But just looking at a physical type and his attributes that he brings on the field, he's a guy that can fly around, and he can be used back in the backfield too, if need be. But he's a guy that obviously Florida State kind of a little bit came to a surprise here. He picks Florida State. You obviously lost Brandon Jennings just a little bit ago, but you come in, you're able to grab a talented guy that those two can compare very well. You can do all your 247 ratings and all this kind of stuff, but Patrick Payton is right there with Jennings, if not maybe a little bit better. So there's obviously some optimism there, and I think Norvell and the defensive staff and Coach Pap grabbed a good one there.
Now, James, obviously, he was a commitment to Tennessee. He backed out. It's not like we're stealing a recruit from an Ohio State or a Notre Dame or someone, but we were able to get a recruit, keep a recruit from South Florida home, for lack of a better term, keep him in the state of Florida. Where does Florida State need to go from here? What is the next step in this process?
Well, one, I want to say something that a lot of FSU fans, because they've been hard on him. He's old. He's a little long in the tooth. But I want to give the propers to an Odell Higgins on this. I was told on Friday that this was going to happen. I was like, yeah, right. Yeah. I was like, yeah, right. A kid from Miami is like, they had the commission or whatever the hell it was called. They banded together and they said, there's no Florida State stuff coming out of here. But, it's a lot of factors that go into it. But the bottom line is we got a kid from a good program who's, I can see the Hamza stuff, but he's more of a pass rusher from what I was being told. But his body type is long. He's long and lean. So him being an outside linebacker, fits for some of the things that they want to do. But where does Florida State go from here? Kind of in the trajectory in which I've been seeing them do for the 22 and the 23 class. But they've got to be a little bit more active. It's okay to offer the 3-star from Colorado and, a freshman that's like 5'8", 100, about the size of my 7-year-old from California. God bless. But, we have those kids here in the state of Florida, too. Build the pipelines. So, what he did with Lake City, Columbia, with Brian Allen, who's a former alumni, played linebacker. You go and you build these relationships. Relationships aren't hard to develop, even if you're not from here. You have an alumni base that is very big, and a lot of them came from the bigger schools. So, you should be able to – you're Florida State. So, if you pick up the phone and you call said school, you will get an answer from the coach. I did the math, and somebody, you guys can correct me on this right here when it comes to it, but the average job, I don't have the average job. But the average job works 40 hours a week, correct?
Yes.
So we were in quarantine for roughly 4 months. So that's 18 weeks, I believe, because there's a couple 5-week months, but I'll give them 16. I'm gonna give them 2 months off. So 40 times 10 weeks would be
400.
I think it came out to like 640 hours. 400, 640 hours that you have. Now you multiply that by 10 coaches. That's your 10 on-field coaches.
Mm.
That's 6,400 hours. If you can't develop a relationship in 6,400 hours when you ain't got nothing to do but sit on your ass and pick up the phone and call people, that's an inefficiency problem. That's not a relationship problem. So I don't want to hear that. Especially when there's guys like at powerhouse programs again. There's Gerard Ross, who's at Trinity Christian, who have two Power Five tackles who are going on, and numerous skill position players that we have. In his defense, it hasn't just been Mike Norvell. Willie Taggart didn't have the relationship, and nor did Jimbo Fisher. No relationships out there. When you have a guy who's over there recruiting, who's alumni, Lavo Swanee, Kyler Hall. He's the head coach there. He played with me. He played with Kyler Hall. Tallahassee. You got a bunch of guys. But again, that's really where they need to go. As my friend says, hit your layups. Stop trying to shoot the three-pointer from half court. Go hit your layups first. And then if you can hit the three-pointer, God bless. Or you can hit and some of these layups will turn into slam dunks over time because there are some really good prospects out there. So, but it's encouraging. Mm-hmm. And no matter what, and as I've told people, because people think I'm negative or whatever, I'm like, no matter how you feel, this is a good positive. Now it sucks that the young man from IMG decommitted. Mm-hmm. And I'm assuming did he commit to Ole Miss? Or that's where it's looking like he's going.
He hasn't committed yet, but it's looking like it's either going to be Ole Miss or maybe in Alabama, something like that. We'll talk a little bit about that more in a moment. My thing about Payton is this one thing, and kind of going along what James said there on that one. Let's hope, for our sake, that he's more like another great Florida State linebacker that came from Miami Northwestern, Marvin Jones. Let's hope he's closer to that than the last two linebackers we've gotten from South Florida in Matthew Thomas from Miami Booker T. Washington and Emmett Rice, who both have had interesting rides in Tallahassee. So let's hope it's a little bit more towards the shade-free route than the other two. Let's hope on that one.
I'm going to point out an evaluation discrepancy here between 247 Sports and everybody else. So here it is. 247 Sports has Patrick Payton rated as the 7th best outside linebacker in the country, number 18 player in Florida, number 151 nationally. The composite has him at 22 at his position, not 7, number 53 in Florida, not number 18, and number 330 nationally, not 151. So if you kind of do the math in your head for the composite to have him there, that means like ESPN and Rivals must have him a lot lower than the composite. Well, so 247 Sports loves him compared to the other two.
And we love 247 Sports for that very reason. The other two, so that's fine. Now, obviously, Logan, Mr. Debbie Downer from the 904, Big Game James Coleman, bringing up the fact that we do get some, you also lose some. So Florida State did lose a commitment at the wide receiver position. Why don't we talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, that goes a lot with obviously Luke Altmaier decommitting, and there was some early thoughts right off the bat after Luke leaving and flipping and going to Ole Miss that there might be some targets or guys that are already committed to Florida State that would go with Altmaier. Altmaier was a pretty big bell cow for his class practically. That was his class. And they've created a good relationship, and this really wasn't a crazy shock to most. I think a few analysts, I think JJ Garrett, who is over there with 247 Sports that joined us on our podcast, predicted that to happen, and it's not really a huge huge shock there. I do think though when we start talking about potential transfers involving quarterbacks, Florida State is in talks with guys too right now that might have already happened to. I think Norvell is a step ahead in that department, which we'll get into here in a few minutes. But yeah, it's a tough loss. A talented wide receiver is deciding to go with your quarterback that was just committed to Florida State. It's a crappy situation.
Do you believe he's going to Ole Miss? You don't think he's going to stay in his home state of Alabama and roll Tide?
No.
I don't get why you would choose Ole Miss over Ole Miss. Did we not see that dog stomping? I mean, I get that LSU's having a down year, but did we not see the dog stomping that Alabama put on LSU Saturday night?
That was easy.
I think I understand. Yeah, I understand what people say with that, and I would probably pick Alabama as well. But when you look at what Ole Miss has done, and you look at your position, like forget the whole team, because there has to be some kind of selfishness in football. It's a team sport, but I don't want to be on any team with anybody who doesn't want to go to the NFL, and I don't want a kid on my team that doesn't want to go to the NFL. When you look at what Lane Kiffin was able to do this year with the team that he had, a team that couldn't even scratch the surface to this kind of offensive output, I can see the appeal of going there. I can also see the appeal of going to Alabama, but what Lane's trying to do, you can't. You got to admit it's a little exciting.
Yeah, Plumlee's doing pretty well in that offense, and it's pretty explosive. And if you're a wide receiver, you're probably going to get some good yards. So
and
that's something that's probably attractive.
Lane sent a handful of people from FAU to the NFL in this last draft, so he knows what he's doing.
It's going to be the Lane versus Norvell, Lane versus Mike boxing match the next couple of years.
I don't want that smoke. No. I covered that man in Boca. I don't want that smoke.
So where are we staying right now with 15 hard commits, number 8 ranking in the conference, number 33 nationally. And Wednesdays, we're only 1 week away, National Signing Day, when about 80% of them get signed. All right.
Fun.
The ceiling is the roof. That's all we're going to say about it. The ceiling is the roof.
Exciting.
Is it over yet?
So Jake Garcia is a pretty highly touted quarterback out of California. And then we've also got Mckenzie Milton, who's obviously a college quarterback who's had 2 amazing seasons at UCF, but followed by a gruesome, horrific knee injury. But they're both there's a lot of speculation out there about where each one of them will go, Jason.
Yeah, Jake Garcia obviously is a quarterback originally from California, transferred to, I believe it's Valdosta, Logan? Is he in Valdosta now? Or somewhere in Georgia?
Yeah.
He ended up going to Marietta. Oh, he
went up to Marietta. Okay, so he's up here in the Atlanta area.
Back here, yeah.
And he is now decommitted from USC.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he's kind of open ball game. So there's been the question about is he going to end up going to the University of Miami? Is he going to end up going to Florida State? They seem to be going back and forth between the two. And then you have Mckenzie Milton, who, like Mark said, let's give him credit. He was part of a great time. If you're a UCF Golden Knight fan, led them to their mythical national championship they still talk about in 2017. And then, to use the words of the great big game James Coleman, became Lieutenant Dan. And now
they talk about it. Of course they talk about it.
Basically, he has one leg. He technically has 2 legs, but he has one leg at this point because of that gruesome injury against USF. So the question is going to be, who should Florida State focus their energy on? The proven player in Mckenzie Milton, who has a great arm and when healthy, if he's back, can be a great quarterback? Or do you go with Jake Garcia if you can be able to get him, because it's going to be Garcia. It's going to be us against Miami at this point, it seems to look like. So I'm going to give this to Logan first because I have an idea where Logan's going to go with, and I want to hear why. So, Logan, Garcia versus Milton. Who do you go with?
Where do you think I'm feeling? Where do you think I'm feeling?
I think you're a flavor of the moment guy. I think you're a guy who wants to win now. You want that smoke. You want that energy. I think you want Lieutenant Dan, the Flying Hawaiian, Melikaliki Maka, to come from the 407 up to the 850. Just head up the turnpike to 75 to 10 and head over.
Yeah, you think that's right? No, I haven't heard a lot of fond things about Garcia, in my opinion. I've really not heard phenomenal things. Obviously, he's got some talent, blah, 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 but not so phenomenal things. On the other side, I've seen a quarterback play phenomenally on the football field at a college level. You could call him national champion quarterback if you want. If he ends up coming to Florida State, I think Florida State fans will join the UCF fans down there and say this is a national champion quarterback coming to Tallahassee. But I think he would be the most talented, talent-wise, I think close to probably – in between Francois and there was some guys obviously that got kicked out of the program, but I think he'd be one of the most top talented quarterbacks we've had in probably about 6 years or so since Jameis left. The guy has a great arm. I think the best part about him, though, you're bringing in if it does end up being the case, you'd be bringing in a very smart quarterback that you haven't really had. Obviously, you have some young guys on the team right now, but they're not developed yet. They're not ready. Jordan Travis, beyond talented, and you can still use him next season, but this guy is just on a different level, and he can throw the ball, and that's something that this team is struggling with right now. Florida State cannot throw the ball, and I do think you get, if it ends up being, if he does end up committing to Florida State and coming to Tallahassee, you're also getting a guy in the locker room that this team really needs in the moment, and knows how to win, is a good leader, and has a really good story too that he brings with them. So I think there's a lot of attributes, more incentives than anything. Obviously, the health thing is a problem with his leg, but just about 2 weeks ago, we were hearing things about him about to play against USF. That game ended up being a lot more closer, so we didn't see Milton go out there on the field. But supposedly he has been lighting up and having some good practices too. So, and those are just scrimmages and whatnot, not in real game. But
if this were 2018, 2017, I would agree with you 110%, because his arm at that time, that 2017 season and into that 2018 season, was among the best in all of college football. He has no leg. He has no leg to stand on. Excuse me, I apologize. He has one leg to stand on. He has one leg to stand on the spot, and I'm not trying to knock him. I don't want UCF fans jumping down my throat like Clemson fans and Miami fans have done. It's going to happen because Logan's going to put something on Twitter at some point now. But I get what you're saying about him, and he is that leader. He would be fine. I don't think he is healthy enough at this point to start that first game in 2021 against Notre Dame on the Sunday before Labor Day. I don't think he is healthy enough right now to play a major college schedule, to play at Clemson, to play Miami, to play Florida, to play Notre Dame, to play Louisville, to play, I believe we said all of North Carolina is still on the schedule for next season.
It's been 2 years, and I hate to say it and put on my Steelers. Alex Smith did just end up beating the undefeated NFL team, and his legs snapped in half and went through a grinder and a paper mill and still beat my Steelers.
You did beat your Steelers.
And,
it was awesome.
And Milton is younger.
You're
a little bit faster. Recovery goes by faster.
If people out there have not seen the story on Alex Smith, my goodness, it's an interesting watch, and it's oh my, you talk about a piece of meat hanging from oh my goodness. Yeah, he's come back from a lot.
My other issue with why I would take Garcia over Milton is
the cool thing.
I think we need to go with the quarterback who is going to be here for a period of time. I think we need to go with the quarterback that we can. If we're gonna get stuck with Mike Norvell for a few years, that it seems like we're gonna get stuck with.
We're gonna get stuck with them. Is that what you just said?
We're gonna get stuck with him for a few years. Damn the torpedoes. Let a quarterback come in and be able to go with his system for that set period of time. And to be honest with you, the main reason why I have a problem with quarterback transfers is us getting burned by Everett Golson. What happened in 2015? Everett Golson was supposed to come down. He had led Notre Dame to a national championship game. He was supposed to come down here. Things started great, and then after that, what the hell happened? Lost to Georgia Tech. It was just down the crapper after that. So I don't trust transfer quarterbacks. If it's Mckenzie Milton 2017, maybe 2018 before the injury, maybe. But having that, and we all saw it. We all saw the ESPN story they did on College Game Day a couple of weeks ago, talking about his recovery. This is a serious injury that he has had to have surgeries on years later. Over a year later, they had to go back in because of all the issues with it. It's not as healthy as it should be at this point. So there's just so much concern for me that I don't think the negatives. I don't think the positives outweigh the negatives at this point in Mckenzie Milton. So I think Jay Garcia is the lesser of two evils.
Okay. Well, I'm actually putting into the chat for people who are actually interested in a non-biased medical opinion on Mckenzie Milton. we interview every week. My radio show, The Sports Den, is sponsored by Southeastern Orthopedic. So a guy who specializes in the injuries, Dr. Chris Swanson, went into detail about the injury, the recovery process, and the different things that go with it. So in 2 years, it should be recovered. And actually, the reason why I like Milton is because of this. I believe if DeAndre Francois was not as arrogant and worried about losing his position as he was about his health, his career, and possibly helping Florida State, I think if he sits out one more year, he actually is healthy enough, even though the injury was a little bit different. But you're dealing with stabilizing. And I think that first year, you got to relearn how to do everything. It's when you start getting into that second year, it's really when you start trying to find the things back. Now, the hardest part of it is with any injury, though, is how do you react when you take the first hit? Hopefully, Coach Norvell has learned lessons with doing live quarterback drills during the season, but you won't learn that until he plays against Notre Dame. But I think the experience is something that you cannot deny. It's something that you truly do want when it comes to Florida State, because I don't really care what anybody says. Even if we are sticking with Mike Norvell in the long run, he needs to win games. He's really getting a mulligan this year with the way that recruiting is going and with schools not wanting to go over budget and really go over the 85 scholarships. So people are going to flock, are going to be able to fall in the laps, and they're going to want to go to the bigger program that they can go to, as well as probably getting some transfers. And this may also deter a lot of kids who thought about transferring out from leaving, because there's no guarantee you're gonna have anywhere to go. So you really get some mulligan. So if you're able to get some pieces and you're able to put together an 8-win season next year, you can have a huge 22 class and go into a 23, which is what he needs. We're not winning the national championship next year, but you need to win so that you have a 23, 24, and hopefully be around for a 25 class, so where that you can put yourself in position to start competing. Now, Jay Garcia, you still need a quarterback. You still need a guy like Jay Garcia or somebody in general, because you don't want to get in the trap that Willie Taggart got into, where you're not signing high school quarterbacks. You know, for all the fuzz and the stuff that people gave Taggart, he didn't sign a high school quarterback, but he got transfers in both years. He got Jordan Travis in his first year, even though he never played him because he didn't get cleared. And then he got the guy with the water pistol on. What's his name?
The lefty from Wisconsin. I'm blanking.
Alex Hornibrook. He got him. So he didn't get the high school quarterback, but he got somebody to come in. Now, to give props again to JJ Garrett, who you talked about you had on No Game Day. JJ told us about Jay Garcia back in August.
Yeah, he's been on top of it.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's been on top of it.
My guy JJ is, we call him Black Fong. We all know it. Was it Will Fong? When Steve Wilfong puts that crystal ball in, it's guaranteed. So we call him the Black Wilfong. So like that when JJ puts that ball in, it's pretty good. So, but he put the crystal ball in for the decommit from USC, but he put it in for Miami. So Miami has that relationship. Miami's been fostering it, but I do know that they talked about Dillingham with the article with 247, but I do know that I have a good confidence that Coach Norvell has been developing relationships with people in the Garcia camp the entire time. This was even when he was recruiting Altmaier. This was somebody that he wanted just in case Altmaier did back out. You know, they always talk about Norvell has a plan B, plan C, and whatever, and things of that nature. So he does need to bring in a quarterback, because no matter what, this room still needs improvement. Personally, I think Tate Rodemaker is probably a great kid. He's just not a Division I quarterback. And Chuba Purdy has a lot of things that he needs to work on and probably could be a good quarterback in the next 2 to 3 years, but he's not a guy that needs to go out there and start even next year. You really – and Jordan Travis, let's be honest, he's an athlete that they're forcing to throw the ball. I think Jordan Travis being put at wide receiver somewhere else gives your offense a more dynamic look.
I want to have Jordan Travis have a role like they put Braxton Miller in at Ohio State. I want to see them use him like that way, because obviously they had what's his name? Who was other quarterback that was in there? I was just talking about it the other day.
Cardell Jones, JT Barrett.
JT Barrett, yeah, JT Barrett in there, and they're taking the quarterback spot, and then obviously Braxton Miller still in the NFL, but was making some plays with Ohio State. And that's Jordan Travis is extremely talented. You got to use him either way. You got to find a way to use him. You'll be lucky if he stays on the team. If he doesn't leave, obviously if Milton comes in, this changes a lot for him playing quarterback next season. But if you're able to keep Jordan Travis, you've got to find a way to utilize him because he's just way too talented.
And I think we all need to be honest about it. I don't think that both Tate Rodemaker and Chuba Purdy stay. I think one of them will transfer out. I think it's probably going to be Chuba because I think he has more options than Tate. And I think, Tate's closer to home. Chuba's coming in from Arizona. I think Chuba will have more options. And I think he ends up leaving. So that's why I think you need a quarterback who's going to stick around more than just 2021. But I think we sidestepped the whole issue here.
I think it'll be Tate gone. I think it's Tate.
I don't think what options does Tate have? Where's he going to go? Georgia Southern?
Well, I don't think he's going to see the field ever in Tallahassee.
But I think
he's got to find a way to get somewhere, right?
Logan and Mark, I think we completely sidestep something here. James, do you have a nickname for everyone? I feel like you have a nickname for everyone. I feel like you have a nickname for all of us. Your nickname calling him, what they used to use on the show, The Wire, got me in trouble. I feel like you have a nickname for everyone. All your guests, you have a nickname for us here?
I do.
What are our nicknames? Go ahead.
Oh boy.
If I don't well, you JP is a nickname.
JP's I like that. Okay.
The voice of college football, that's a nickname. It's already pretty solid. And Logan's Twitty is dope. I mean, you don't need one. So I like it. Or it's like this. Or it's how I meet you. If I'm introduced to you in a certain way, in a truly professional setting, then I'll just call you whatever it is. I'll call you what comes to my mind. But if it's something that I'm trying to remember your name, or we're trying to do something different, I'm gonna give you a nickname. It's the locker room image. So like, I know people have showed me screenshots. I get ripped in game day for it, but I'm like, it's what we do. I mean, it's probably, and I know you got in trouble for it. It's probably because you're white, JPZ. But it's
what
in the black community
they got mad at you.
In the black community, to have a tag with your name, with your name is like one of the biggest honors that we give. That means we need to distinguish you. So, like for example, if there's a Mark, is Mark. Like I don't really know any other Mark, so I don't need to call Mark White Mark. Mark is Mark. If I say Mark, anybody who knows me. But if there's a Mark that's in my neighborhood or growing, and we're like, hey, Mark, I got White Mark over there. I gotta go do a show. It's great. It's a sign. I can see where people can misinterpret it, but it's like, yo, this Mark is so important to me that I need you to know who I'm talking about, and that's kind of where it comes down to. Like, if you like I always joke people, they're like, James, you just don't like Mike, which is far from the truth. I was like, if I didn't like Mike, I would just call him Mike. Just be Mike. Just be or Coach Norvell. If that's when you get super professional. I'd be like, Coach Norvell, the offense is not clicking, but yeah, we have. It just comes from. I mean, you don't even want to know something. Unless it's a truly offensive nickname, like it's something like like mine was Tankhead when I played at Florida State. I don't care if people call me that. I got a big head. But some people might not want to go around and call somebody a tank like that if you don't truly know them. But yeah, it's just a locker room thing, man. I love it. I like it. Nicknames are. That's why my kids are Killer and Trigger. If you ever want to know, if you ever see me on Twitter and I'm talking about Killer or I'm talking about Trigger or Baby Doll, that's my daughter. So boom, boom, boom. Those are my kids. You never know. You might not even know their name or the franchise.
That's cool.
Trey is the franchise because he was the firstborn son.
We're 4 minutes past the point where White Logan decides to tell us.
We got to stay with the theme here. I got to get my two kids in here now. We had James go. So my son Landry is my boy. He's just my boy. Okay. And sometimes it's my boy. That's what it is.
You named your son after Tom Landry?
My wife at the time actually just made that decision. But yes, I'm an enormous Tom Landry fan, or was, rest his soul. So yes, my son Landry is my boy. I just call it. He's on my phone, my boy. Taylor is Taylor Boo.
Wow.
The girl Taylor is Taylor Boo.
Taylor Boo.
She's just Taylor Boo. She's been since she was a little, little toddler, little munchkin. She's always been Taylor Boo. Even though she's 21 now, she's Taylor Boo.
Oh.
White Logan, what are your kids' names?
What are my kids' names?
Yeah.
Well, Gilly's
There's
right
too
back
many.
over here.
We don't have enough time.
Okay. Why you're telling us?
Somebody gave him a nickname. They called him Logan Natty Ice.
Logan Natty.
There it is.
Somebody put that
Natty Ice Logan.
Where is that?
Yeah.
Logan Natty Ice. We're 5 minutes past the point. Tell us, why should we hit the like button?
Well, the chat is actually going crazy. They're actually
Ronan.
blaming me for not saying anything. We're at about 80. Well, we're at 72 viewers. We'll get to close to 100 by the end of this. But make sure you smack that like button. I think we only have 36 likes. That's not enough. We have a game to talk about too here in just a few minutes also. So we have a football game to actually enjoy after almost a month now. So smack that like button if you're excited about watching that on the beautiful ACC network. Because luckily I won't have to deal with watching it. But hit the like button. If you hit the like button, Florida State will land a talented quarterback. There you go. And if you don't hit it, then you know why it didn't happen.
Mark, if you want to go back there, let's give a shout out to Ronan, who's giving us $13 and I think it's 73 cents, $10, 10 euros.
That's right. We did the conversion a few weeks ago. Let's get the super chats in here. We've got Ronan. Thank you so much. Miami fan stepping up here. Support Mark Rogers, not FSU. Go Canes. Love how I tune in late, and the first thing I hear is Jason being told he's white, the voice of college football, discussing the serious topics.
He needs to be reminded.
It hurts.
Sometimes you got to be reminded.
It hurts, though, because you don't want to believe it, but then you see it, and the words are said, and it just hurts. It hurts a little bit. Thanks, James. It hurt me more.
I'll tell you what. It's an even better week. We have a game this week. I love this. Usually
let's get the super chats in here real quick.
Oh, yeah, there's time. Go ahead.
Okay, Ronan, thank you so much. William Callum, appreciate that. Thank you so much for the super chat contribution. And we don't want to miss BGPO Football Funk, who also had a super chat. I had that posted on the screen earlier. So thank you so much for the contributions. I will let all of you know that you can be proud of your contributions because we did Ohio State this afternoon. We had 350 people on the line. No super chats. None. Cheap Buckeye fans, I guess.
They had to give their money to the Big Ten to convince them to,
Yeah, they were tapped out.
That's weak.
Let's actually give the ACC some credit, though. And I know we make fun of the ACC network, and we've done that this entire year, this entire 83 episodes.
I'm not giving them anything.
I've defended the ACC network.
Let's give the ACC some credit. They knew not to schedule the Duke game the same time as Florida State's playing Florida in basketball, because everyone's going to be at the Tucker Center and no one's going to be at Doe Campbell for that game. So so you get a little doubleheader action. You can go watch the Noles kick some gator butt on the basketball court, and then go watch the Noles hopefully beat Duke in football.
What time's the football game?
4 o'clock, and if we lose to Duke,
and you guys are going to be on here for a little post game.
Possibly.
I'm covering high school football on Saturday.
Well, if Florida State does lose that game, Mark, it's going to be a hard time finding my way back home safely. So I'll say that if Florida State wins, I'll be more responsible. Like I said, I was going to say I just finished all my exams yesterday. I am enjoying the rest of this week. One more semester, I think, to go. So I am loving this week. This week is amazing. Let's just talk football for 2 more hours. I'm just kidding.
Wait. You think you only have one more?
I don't know. I don't stress myself out with that too much. I just get my classes that need to be done and move on to the next semester.
Oh, White Logan, you're so funny.
I'm got it.
I remember those days, man. Y'all don't try to negotiate with the teacher to give you that take-home test, to be able to do it, and then you just turn it in.
I did. That was all this semester, man. I was taking exams all online. I kind of, COVID. I feel, COVID's COVID, but the one perk about it, at least while you're in school and college, is you're taking all of your exams at home, and whatever you need to do at home is what you do on your own business, however you study.
I was kind of the book nerd, so I didn't have to actually, bribe the teacher. Kind of graduated pretty well. So.
All right, why, Jason?
I took that. Just right in. I took that test right in academic support.
Yeah, right in there, right in front of the tutor.
So more importantly, Florida State is playing Duke. Originally, Florida State was supposed to play Duke. last week on the road in Durham. Now it's this week coming up in Tallahassee. And this is a Duke team that's coming off getting murdered by Miami 48-0. So this is the question to both Logan and both James. Should Florida State feel confident that this is a Duke team that got blown out by slightly more to Miami than we got blown out by Miami?
Go ahead, James.
First of all, I want to go to a Chuck E. Cheese.
Man, we should beat Duke. I think this is the only team in the ACC that we haven't lost to.
Correct.
I mean, yeah, like so. At some point, there's some streaks we just got to continue. But Duke is a really bad football team, and that's hard to say for Florida State because we're a really bad football team. But at a certain point, your time. I don't care what any fan says. One day these guys were like, I don't believe in recruiting services like that either, but there is a reason you're a 4-star. There's a reason you're a 5-star. That you shouldn't be dominated by 2 stars with heart. I will go to my grave believing that you should not lose to a team full of roots. If you do, then not only do you not care about football, you're just not well coached either. So I believe we should be able – and this Duke team isn't like other Duke teams to where they were at least disciplined. They were at least in the right position. There's a lot of things that they just don't do well. And, like, even a Cutcliffe team typically has good, decent quarterback play. These guys don't have any of that. Their best player actually is a linebacker, actually, for that matter. I hope he if he's not a senior, I hope he, decides to hit the transfer portal. Maybe come get a master's degree from Florida State. I wouldn't mind having him. But we shouldn't win this game. It shouldn't be a hard game. I'm not suggesting we'll win 48-0 like Miami did, but if we can't beat them by 2 touchdowns, man, I'm already nervous, but I'm going to get even more.
We've kind of been almost ignoring it. I feel like I have been. I've been like, I don't really want to talk about it, but now that we're here, we have to actually talk about it because it's a week of the game. But it's kind of like you just don't want to really talk that this should be a game. Really.
Logan, is anyone else depressed that James is using this phrase, we should be Duke? Like, I'm sorry, I grew up, and I get it. I understand where we are right now. We suck right now, and I'm not denying that. I just remember the times back in, the 90s, even the 2000s, when Duke was the guaranteed win. Duke was the 52-7 blowout win. It's nothing. And the fact that we're sitting here in that's the most 2020 statement, I think, of anything. Florida State should be Duke. Not only will be Duke. Should be Duke.
Well, think about what
Duke. It was on pay-per-view.
It was.
It wasn't even on regular TV. Like, we went to Duke. It was on pay-per-view.
2003.
I kid you not. So no commercials. We really whooped up. We went up there, did what we needed to do. It was the weekend of FAMU's homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 2000. It was 2005 when we did that. We went up there, took what we needed. Like they tried to keep us on the tarmac longer so we didn't get back in Tallahassee in time for the game. But like we just went up there and just like whooped their butt and then just got out of Dodge. It was great times. I would take my shoulder pads off at halftime, have my jersey on, and like I would go out there and coach up the young guys. Like that's like the feeling that we used to have with Duke, but we used to have with Clemson too. Yeah. But those were the days, man. Like but now I don't. Yeah. Now I have to say the truth. I mean, we should beat them.
I know it's just depressing. It's depressing that we're not coming out here saying Florida State is going to annihilate Duke. Florida State is going to destroy Duke. We're sitting here saying Florida State should be Duke. Well, it's the realization, Mark.
Exactly, because if you look at Duke, they're fading down the stretch. But if you look at them throughout the season, maybe they've had injuries, maybe they're just giving up. But they were within a score of Notre Dame in the fourth quarter. They lost by 14. Pretty respectable score. They only lost to Virginia they lost to them by 18, 38-20. They lost to Virginia Tech by 2 scores. No, they lost to them by a touchdown, 7. They lost to NC State by 11. Like a lot of teams that whipped up on Florida State, they stayed within 10 to 15 points.
But you know who didn't lose to Virginia? Florida State.
What?
It's true. We did not.
Got James. James got there.
So
No,
you guys still going to play the next game? Is that still on tap?
We talked about that last. Yes, right
Wake
now
Forest?
the Wake Forest game is still on tap. I don't think
Okay.
we should. I think you come out, you ride in the sunset, 3-6, 3-6 Mafia style. Just run into the tunnel, enjoy it, recruit like hell the next week when the state championships are there.
Yeah, well, I think this shouldn't really be a game. The number one thing to me about Florida State not making this shouldn't make it really close. Like Florida State should at least come out of this game a win. Is Jordan Travis being beyond healthy? He's got to be fully healthy by now, and I think that is a huge thing for Florida State's offense. I think the defense is going to play pretty well, but offensively, that has just been atrocious. I mean, not saying the defense has not been that way this season, but you got to find a way to put on some points. And Jordan Travis, I think, is going to have a really good game. And Doak, honestly, I think he's going to have a really good one.
So for both of you guys, we'll start with Logan, then go James. What are your keys to Florida State? And Logan has a special guest here with him. What are your keys to a victory for Florida State? We're going to say that Florida State is going to win this game. Damn the torpedoes! Florida State's going to win this game. What are the keys to Florida State winning, Logan?
The key. Should I ask her? Maybe she might. Do you any comment, please? I guess not. The keys to winning this game is offense, like I was just talking about. Jordan Travis making plays with his feet. He can throw. I want to see explosive bombs, man. He's had a chance when he connects with guys, and I think offensively, let Jordan Travis play. Have the offense surrounded by your playmaker, which I think is Jordan Travis right now, because you've lost Webb. You're hanging on by a limb. You're probably going to have a few walk-ons out there on defense that are playing different positions. It's going to be all over the place. Offense is going to have to help carry this team, and it's going to be under Jordan Travis, and I think that's going to be the key offensively. I'm trying to think defensively. Takeaways. Duke has had a season of giving the ball away, take advantage of the opportunities, and get your offense and good short field scenarios where they can go score. So take advantage of Duke's bad trend of letting the ball get out of their hands.
This is what Vegas thinks of the game. They're only saying Florida State's a 5-point favorite.
Well, we were a 3-point underdog when the game was scheduled in Durham. So I think that some of it has to be a home factor. And I think that extra 2 points came from the fact that they got annihilated by Miami. But, James, what are your keys to Florida State getting a victory? And don't use the word should. I swear to God, do not use the word should. Please do not use the word should.
Score 1 point.
You're not going to be confident.
It's key to victory, but the running game goes with Jordan Travis's legs. Jordan goes with Jordan Travis's legs. If Jordan Travis is doing what he needs to do, then this game should be in hand pretty comfortably. But I think, I know the fan base cheers with the guys transferring out and say they want to get rid of the dead weight and blah, blah, blah. I get that. But you'll see the effects of attrition right now. They were already bad, but like now if you lose, you got Woody gone. You got, my son is crazy right now. Jaden Wood be gone. You've got all these other guys gone. In the secondary, it's just very difficult to be able to replace those things. And I don't think, again, 2 stars with heart don't necessarily come in and fill those voids. But with the Asante Samuels not being there, like you're going to really get a chance to see what the next year could be. And I hope the defense flies around better, but there's nothing that's showing me with the defense that we can stop anybody.
My biggest key, and you can say that I'm living in the past, it's whatnot, it's fine, I'll own it. Florida State needs to remember they're Florida State and this is Duke. Yes, we're a bad Florida State team right now. We're the worst Florida State team we've been in a while. This Duke team is pitiful. They are a pitifully bad football team. Florida State, I'm not saying Florida State should win 48-0. I agree with James. But Florida State should at least win this game by 2 touchdowns. Florida State needs to remember this is Florida State Duke. If Florida State goes out and plays Florida State, even second-rate Florida State football that we've been playing all season, we are a 2-touchdown better team than Duke.
Yes.
Who you are. Don't play down to Duke's level, I guess would be my way of saying it.
So to go with James' analogy and just the measuring of the two rosters, yes, it shouldn't be a great game. It should be an okay game, but yeah, Florida State should win by 2 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. But if you just look at the comparison of the scores against like competition throughout the season, I can see why they're only a 5-point favorite.
Yeah, that's something. And I'm kind of relating this to how the Steelers have been playing this season, where they do it every year though. Mike Tomlin loves doing this, and it irritates the living hell out of me. But he plays down to his competition every single game, and it makes no sense to me whatsoever. He just decides to keep these games going into the fourth quarter, or at least the third quarter, for no reason whatsoever. Sorry, James, it didn't really happen in Jacksonville. I know you're not a Jags fan anyways, but it's tough talking about the Jaguars. But they ended up actually, beating the competition like they should. But I think on Saturday, Florida State has the talent that is way ahead of Duke. It's not even close. Duke is a terrible football team this year, but Florida State also is too. But you got practically a month off of a game to get healthy. You got your quarterback fully ready to go. You got some young talent at wide receiver. You got talented running backs too behind Webb, who's gone. You've got still Toa Philly and Corbin. Florida State should not play down to their competition against Duke, and that's what I'm worried about. I think they win this game, but I'm worried that this is going to be some kind of game heading into like the late of the third quarter into the fourth quarter, and we're looking at each other like, why is this happening? And you're going to wish that you were back at the Tucker Center watching Florida State decimate Mike White and the Florida Gators in basketball.
Mike White?
It's White Mike White for sure, and we need to always extend him.
That's where I'm about it too.
Well, I was going to say, let's remember one thing. The last time these teams played in 2017, Florida State needed a fourth-quarter touchdown by Cam Akers just to win. Mm-hmm. So it's not like Duke has not played us tough. I remember a game in 2004 when Gary Size Mesa had to kick about 26 field goals for us to beat Duke that game because the offense wasn't doing anything that game. So Duke has played us tough before. They're a little bit like how Vanderbilt sometimes plays Florida tough, but other times Florida just blows the hell out of Vanderbilt. Duke's a team who sometimes plays us tough. Sometimes we blow them out. We just need to remember we're Florida State, they're Duke. And even a bad Florida State is better than Duke any day of the week.
I don't know if the players on the field should be remembering anything. They should just go out and hit the guy in front of them.
You would hope so, Mark.
I think maybe that's part of the problem. If they step on the field and feel as though we're Florida State, we should win this game, that might be a problem.
I think the problem is we keep interrupting James. He wants to say something.
I think it's off. It's delayed a little bit.
Yeah.
James, go ahead.
I think Logan's on it.
Yeah, okay. So it's not so it is delayed. It is delayed. All right. I just think if they play like they played against North Carolina, we'll be fine.
Oh yeah. That first half at least.
I'm looking at 5 games on the schedule that Duke and Florida State played the same opponent. They've got 5 common opponents, and the scores are, aside from Duke losing to North Carolina by 32 points, and obviously Florida State won that game, the other 4 are pretty much very comparable scores.
Mark wants to call this a Duke win, I think. Are you seeing that too, JP?
I'm just looking at it.
Oh God, no! Mark is just being the bastion of negativity here today for us. On
it's not negativity where I'm coming from. It's just being neutral. Listen, I'm just pointing out.
Listen, enjoy the fact that the Big Ten screwed over Indiana to help us today. And just move on. Let us have our moment here of Florida State, hopefully getting our biggest. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. We'll get our biggest win of the season.
I understand that there's no way to measure Ohio State and Indiana because, of course, they didn't play this year, and Ohio State didn't beat them, or Ohio State's not undefeated, and Indiana doesn't have 1 loss. So there's no way to compare those 2 teams to be able to make that decision. Sure.
You backdoored into this game because the Big Ten wants you guys in the playoff, and you know it. Admit it. Admit it here, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. Admit it to the fan.
To the fan.
Admit it.
Get it out now. This is mean down here from Sammy Miami, Mark.
What did Sammy Miami say?
Super chat.
It should pass. And you know what? It's funny because
here we go.
Because I was saying this, like my dad graduated from there at 76. My parents graduated from there at 75 and 76. And my dad was up there. He was part of the football team and whatnot, working with them. And he was part of the teams when they sucked, when they won a total of 4 games over a 3-year period. And you realize, though, that after that, they bring in Bobby Bowden. They go 5-6. And then after that starts no losing seasons until 2018. So it's going to get better. We joke about it. I don't think right now Mike Norvell is the answer. I could be wrong. He could come out next season and be a completely much better coach. We don't know that, though, at this point. But it can't get worse. It can only get better. And yes, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying, really trying. I'm trying to.
You guys may need to thank me next week because I'm going to supply you with your comeback to the Miami fans if you lose to Duke. Okay, they lost to Duke the last 2 years. You realize that? So they lost. So like Eddie, I love Eddie too, but he needs to understand. Because he says, Eddie is a Canes fan and says, if you guys lose to Duke, I will never, ever let you guys forget it. But Miami just lost to Duke in 2018 and 19, just lost to them 2 consecutive years. So you guys can say, well, we just at least lost to them once. We didn't lose back to back.
Okay, I don't like to agree with Miami fans, but Eddie's right.
In 2017, they needed a epic kick return.
Yeah.
They actually immortalized it.
Yeah, the play that was clearly there was a forward pass and everything. It was that they made T-shirts down here about a play of beating Duke on the last play of the game.
So it could have been 3 times.
It could have absolutely, but Eddie, I hate to say it, Eddie's right. If we lose to Duke, we should never let it be forgotten. Duke is Duke. This is not Duke basketball losing to us, the defending ACC champions, playing Indiana at 7:00 Wednesday night in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. That doesn't count towards our basketball time, Mark. But this is Duke football.
Yeah.
We lose to Duke, I won't let us forget it. I'll mention here we go. Hey, guys, by the way, did you hear we lost to Duke? I'll say it every single show. I don't care. We cannot lose to Duke.
I think it was a couple, yeah.
Do we know who's winning that ACC Big Ten Basketball Challenge?
Probably the Big Ten because the
Big Ten has. Yeah, the ACC should have a good night tonight.
I was just baiting you guys a little bit there.
Miami did beat Purdue after Purdue had like an 18-point lead at halftime yesterday. I was at that game. Watching Purdue blow it. Big Ten.
I was wanting like a depth chart analysis of Duke football tonight is what I was looking for.
Yeah. Well, I will not.
Go to your local high school. Go to your local high school, get a copy of their roster. It's probably about the same thing.
Yeah, I was not going to be a part of that. My excuse will be that I was studying and taking exams and writing papers about North Korea the last 48 hours. So
my excuse will be it's Florida State Duke football.
What's the score predictions?
Okay, we'll go around that. James, if you're still with us.
Delay. There's a 30-second delay.
Okay, James. All right, then we'll go to Logan first. Oh, James is with us.
James has got it.
James, give me a game prediction. Give me a game prediction, James. Florida State Duke, without using the word should. Florida State Duke prediction, go.
25-13, Florida State.
Okay.
Somehow we scored with 3 touchdowns. 3 offensive touchdowns.
Wait, you said 25 or 35-13?
No, not 45. My bad. 25. 25. I don't know how to get through 25, but that's the number.
Is that 3 touchdowns and 2 safeties? Is that 3 touchdowns, a missed extra point, a field goal, and safety? How's this happening here?
You can score 25 points.
Yeah, but you're going to have to miss some extra points and make some safeties happen.
Hear how it happens. I just need us to score.
All right, so 25-13, an interesting prediction from James Coleman.
We get 2 touchdowns, a 2-point conversion with a touchdown, and we kick a field goal.
I was told there'd be no math here. So, okay, good. James says 25-13. Logan, White Logan, go ahead.
White Logan. I'm going to go Florida State wins this game. Last game of the season at home. Senior day. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, do you really do senior day this year? I don't know how that works. But either way, it's still your senior day. Some will be gone, blah, blah, blah. I think Florida State wins this game 31, Duke 17.
Wait, so you think we win 31-17?
31-17, yes.
Scared me for a second there. All right.
Yeah, no.
So in front of dozens of fans inside Doak Campbell Stadium on Saturday at 4 o'clock.
Including you and I.
No, I will not be there for that.
Oh, you called out, huh? Interesting.
I'm no sorry. I have stuff to do. I'm trying to get up there for state championships the following week. So you're gonna have to root and yell World Star for both of us.
Not a real fan.
Oh, not at all. Just a real alumni. Enjoy your 6th year at FSU.
7th.
7th. Congratulations, Mazel.
You said it.
I did. I said it twice now. It's the second time.
Twice.
Plus some shout outs.
Shout
Yep,
outs. We're going middle school style today.
We haven't hit the nail on the head yet, though.
Can White Jason make his prediction? Thank you. White Jason thinks that in front of dozens of fans inside Bybound Field, Doe Campbell Stadium on Saturday, I think Florida State, I don't think they allow themselves to let this season of disaster continue. I think they ride into the sunset at home. I'm going to say Florida State, I don't know how they're going to score 34 points, but I think they put enough offensive together to get 34 points. I'm going to say 34-16. 34-16.
44. Wow. Wait, 44 or 34?
34.
Oh, okay.
This is why you don't
staying around my. You're staying around my range then.
This is why you don't drink before the show, so that you can hear our predictions.
This is water. You're lucky I didn't. I had a few beers that I put in the fridge before getting in here, and I was like, no.
Nice.
Save them for the game here in about 10 minutes.
Mark, what is your prediction?
My prediction. I will give my prediction this week since I probably won't touch this game on Patreon, so people won't have to pay for my prediction on this one. All right. So this is a free pick out there. I'm going to go.
First one ever.
Florida State Duke. I'm going to go Florida State. Florida State wins this. Does Florida State win it?
Oh.
Man. All right. Florida State wins 27-20.
27-20 tight game in the fourth quarter, it seems like maybe.
Wow.
Interesting.
Logan, Eddie wants to know your cat's name.
Gilly from the character Game of Thrones. Her name is Gilly Thrones Robinson. Thank you. Wayne, I think they're trolling me. There's way too many comments.
All right.
Eddie's talking about he loves my cat.
Okay, we'll play along.
They're clearly trolling you, number one. Number two, you gave your cat a middle name?
Yeah. I mean, I'm white, so.
I'm white too, and my dog's name is Bowden. You got one name.
We've never seen your dog.
He lives with my ex-wife. She treats him like royalty.
Oh, there we go.
I'm good for paying for
dogs go between parents.
No, he stays with her. But here he is. Okay, that's Bowden.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good-looking dog, from what I can tell.
He's a Garnet and Golden Retriever.
Oh, time to end this off, Mark.
My son's a dog trainer if you need some help. All right.
He's trained. He's lazy. He sits there.
Can't wait till 4 o'clock Eastern time from Doak Campbell on Saturday. It's the big Florida State Duke matchup, and we will hopefully reel these guys in for some big post game. I'm looking for a 3-hour post game show. You guys.
It's not happening.
Huge analysis. I want X's and O's breakdown.
Not happening.
All right.
It's not happening, Mark.
I think we topped 100 at some point tonight. Good to see everybody on here. Appreciate the contributions from BGPO Football Funk, Ronan, and William as well. Get us a sponsor. Somebody get us a sponsor here. Contact me at MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Get us a sponsor. We only stay alive based on your contributions and the contributions, hopefully, of a sponsor soon.
Fans, we hate to disappoint you. There will be no post-game show on Saturday because there's no way in hell we're doing a post-game show for Florida State Duke. That's your program alert for today. We will see you next Wednesday. Maybe previewing a game against Wake Forest. Maybe previewing the 2021 season. Who knows what will happen next Wednesday here? So stay tuned.
Nothing about basketball, Jason? Wow.
Florida State, Indiana.